Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us at the XBE Thrive series, the Service Line Micro, talking about support services. We appreciate you taking the time today, wherever you are across the country. I'm Jim Bell, and I am with the Diversity Consortium. The Diversity Consortium is a diversity suppliers advocacy group that works with corporate 1000s to help build and deploy their supplier diversity programs, as well as working with XBEs or diverse companies, suppliers, to help them grow, help them develop and gain capacity. So we're going to spend just a moment chatting about who we are, and then we're going to get into the content for today. The Diversity Consortium is a group of companies, all consulting firms that provide services in this diverse space, both from a corporate perspective and to a disadvantaged business enterprise of all types, veterans, minorities, gender, preference. So across that, we refer to those disadvantaged enterprises as XBEs. So you're going to hear that term a lot today. As a collective, we have over 500 discrete services that these 25 firms deploy. We've serviced well over 1,000 referenceable customers, and combined, we have well over 100 folks in our employ. As an interesting fact, we've got a hair over $1 billion of working capital that's going to be made available to XBEs to help grow their businesses. And I think you're going to find that with this experienced group of people that have been in the industry, each one of these firms well over 10 years, you're going to find hundreds of years of experience. So we want to welcome everybody and kind of let you know generally our service set. We of course provide services to corporate, and that's generally around strategy and program execution, helping to find, outreach, onboard, and manage XBEs in their diversity programs, as well as trying to help them message their programs to their stakeholders. On the right side, you tend to see the things that are down market or to the XBEs themselves. And this is often around coaching and training and certification support, down through back of house services of marketing and IT, health plan performance, and then trying to help make sure that people have the capacity and the capabilities and the resources they need to be successful. Today, of course, we're going to be talking about marketing. We've got several organizations inside the Diversity Consortium that help us in this. Dobbins International Smartagies, Diversity Mastermind, which are all training organizations, marketing firms, research firms, technology firms, all kind of working together to help XBEs work on their market approach, their delivery, their capabilities and technology to be successful and profitable in this corporate pursuit. Today in this XBE sales and marketing kind of service line, we're going to be talking to how do I best get my company out there? How do I get noticed by corporates, and how do I make my success a higher probability of success in those opportunities? Before we get started, I just want to handle a little bit of housekeeping. We're using Microsoft Teams today to be doing this webinar. So you'll notice that there are controls on your dashboard. You can control your volume. Everyone's coming in and muted, but we would love to engage you as an audience. So there is on your right-hand side a chat box. So we're going to be asking some questions, some survey type things, and then an opportunity for you to interact with our presenter today. So in that chat box, if you have a question, please just ask it. We're going to deal with as many as we can in the time that we have today. We recognize with an audience of this size that we're not going to have the ability to answer every question, but we do make a commitment that we will address every question, we'll answer it, and we'll distribute those answers to anybody who's interested. So if you are interested, please put in your chat box. Please send me a copy of the question and answers, and we'll be glad to get those to you with the recording of this webinar after the fact. Before we get started, just want to say one quick thing, just so we understand who the audience is. For the most part, I suspect that we have disadvantaged business enterprises here on the call. If you are an XBE, can you please let us know the category in which you fit, whether it be gender or minority or veteran or whatever category, please say yes and what you are. That would be great, and we'll make sure that that comes out in the notes for this section, so you kind of have an idea out of all of the participants how that kind of shakes out. Super interesting for us to know. So today we have Charmaine Brown. Dr. Brown is a great professional. She's done a lot of things. In my time in knowing her, she's an anchor woman in a news program. She works in a variety of different businesses and vertical markets. She is extremely well connected inside the industry. So I think you guys are going to enjoy hearing from her. Again, my name is Jim Bell, and I am a part of the Diversity Consortium. I actually have a company that's one of the suppliers, and I'm acting as the moderator today. So a little bit about me, but I've been around for some time more than I would like to tell. So I tell you what, Charmaine, can you tell us a little bit about your organization just as an introduction?
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, everybody, and welcome, Jim. Thank you so much for this opportunity to just share with everybody what I know. I'm here to help everybody make it to their goal and their destination. So I started Slams Multimedia really out of serendipity because I'm a television news anchor here in Virginia, but I also live in South Carolina. I own a small business there in South Carolina. I'm a woman minority owned business certified with the state. Recently within the last 5 years, but I certainly have been doing marketing and things of that nature before I actually launched the business as a broadcast journalist. People would come to me and just say, hey, can you help me get my story out? And I don't have a budget for it. Who do I need to contact? So then it ended up being that I was a contact person. So I actually turned it into a business as different people were coming to me and say, hey, how do I market my nonprofit and my small business? I only have this amount of budget, but I would love to be able to grow my business and actually have some marketing done. So that's when I launched Slams Multimedia about 4 or 5 years ago, 2017. So I handle marketing, communications, information design, public relations, and all sorts of collateral materials that small businesses may need. You don't have that person in-house, and you still need the opportunity to market. So that's how I launched Slams Multimedia, and we actually do pretty well now. I have a few employees, a nice team behind me that we just take on some of your marketing duties and things like that, because marketing is indeed important and necessary, especially if you want to grow your business. So
Charmaine,
that's a
I'm
little bit
sure
about Slams Multimedia. Say it again, Jim.
Charmaine, I'm sure that the audience is going to appreciate the fact that you've recently taken the business out, that you're a minority, a woman, and trying to make a go in the marketplace, how competitive it is. I'm sure your experience is going to be super valuable to the audience.
Yes. So, let's jump right in here. If you all have any questions, put it in the chat. We'll have an opportunity to have some dialogue here shortly. But I just want to tell you a little bit about trying to market your business. First of all, marketing is very important. So here are some of the things I'll try to get through within the time that I have to speak about it. We're going to talk about your marketing strategy and things like that. And I would always say, go with some sort of idea of where you want your business to go and where you want to market your business, who your audience is, and how you perceive yourself trying to get to them. You should always have your logos and certainly take advantage of all digital media at this time, because most people do a lot of social media, social marketing, and things like that in order to reach a different audience. And most audiences now, they're no longer carrying around paper and things like that. They go to social media and actually get some information. So also make sure that you know who you're going after when it comes to marketing.
Charmaine, that is particularly true in the days of COVID and virtual work, isn't it?
Absolutely. And you see that as the country shuts down, people are not going to get a newspaper from the corner store anymore. They get it all online. So you want to be in the place where eyes can be on you. So first of all, let's just kind of talk about marketing and why we do it. Jim, you want to go to say, marketing pretty much is what you see here. It's the activity, set of institutions and processes you have to create, communicate, deliver, and exchange offerings. And that's with your customers, your clients, your partners, as well as society as a large. You want as many eyeballs on your product or your service as possible. And you do it So it allows your business to maintain a long-standing and ever-present relationship with the audience. So for the most part, marketing is building a relationship with people in your community, people across the nation. You want as many eyes as possible on your service and on your product. You have to have a strategy though. You have to have a strategy in order to market well. And, we've all heard this saying, how do you eat an elephant? Well, small chunks and small bites at a time. Don't try to take over the entire market before you actually can take over a small portion of it. So I think you start with a small portion of that market and then you grow in layers. But make sure that you have
That's
some sort of a plan.
that's absolutely true. It's kind of hard to have the market presence of an IBM on day one. And I know it's pretty daunting to try to get all of the material and all of the digital presence in place to make you feel like you're telling your story.
Absolutely. And then, we all start with these grandiose plans, and not that you shouldn't build to those things. If you start small, you will realize that there is enough in the small pond for your small business to survive. You don't have to cover the entire state in order to get it. You can cover your city and probably do very well. You will go to your Chamber of Commerce. The Small Business Administration will also help you with some of your marketing needs. You can also go to the library and they'll show you how to market, but you will be surprised who needs your product or your service right there in your small community that would be willing to pay. So make sure there's a niche for it, but you can actually survive without conquering the whole nation. Um,
Yeah, that,
so you should have your marketing strategy and your sales strategy. There's a difference between the two. Your marketing strategy, for the most part, is a vision and goals for your company, your value propositions. And I have the list right there, so you can just kind of look at that. But a sales strategy is kind of what you're selling, how you're selling, and if it's sellable, if somebody's actually going to pay you to do what it is that you're able to do.
so Charmaine, I got a question, and it kind of happens in our world a lot. People refer to the term business development. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, where does that kind of fit in this marketing strategy and sales strategy?
Well, here's where I see business development starts with the business that you have itself, the business that you're trying to do. If you don't have something that is needed or somebody wants, then you won't be able to market or sell it anyway. So you have to first have a business that is something somebody wants. So your business development is, how do I develop the business itself, which is your business plan? Is there a need for it? What is the research show? Who are your competitors? What the competition looks like? And then you come up with your marketing plan. How do you market this thing that people need? How do you then sell this thing that people need? So you come up with a business plan and business development first, and then you market that.
Excellent. That's a great answer. Thank you, Charmaine.
Um, Thank you for that, Jim. Also, okay, so let's start with a little bit of branding and logo, that development. And I know sometimes we have this good idea. We want to name our business after our family. We want to name our business after the aunt that raised you, after, the grandmother that did so much for you. But make sure that your logos are simple. You want a logo to speak to the people without even having words. Now, some of these logos, some of the ones that we're familiar with, we know what's the check right there. That's the Nike swoosh, right? We know the golden arches, that's McDonald's. You know that that's Target without even seeing it. Sometimes we have these logos that are so convoluted that people are like, what is it and what do you sell? Make it simple. Keep your logos very simple. It should be a symbol that people recognize quickly, that they know what it is, who did it, and things of that nature. So when you come up with a logo, I understand you want to pay homage to your family. You want it to be, something that's meaningful, reputable, and things like that. But if you keep it simple, it will sell. You keep it
Well,
simple, people will remember it.
and we certainly recognize all of those logos, Charmaine. I think I've heard in the past that you should be able to tell what somebody does by their name or their logo. But
Mhm.
what you're saying here is you certainly wouldn't necessarily know that a swoosh is for a shoe. They really created the brand, and that's how people relate to them.
And that's what I'm getting to next. Once you create the logo, the brand is the thing that you're selling. Nike is all athletic. So now when we see a swoosh, we think athletic. You see what I'm saying? So McDonald's, all good fast food for those who like fast food. When you see the golden arches, you know what the brand is, you know what it represents. So just try to keep
French
everything
fries,
simple.
right?
You
You know,
got
French fries.
you got it. You got it. But it took a while to develop those brands. Try to stick with it, folks, because it takes about 3 years to build a good brand. But your logo will then start catching on and people will remember what you're branded for. And then digital development and management. This is ever so important right now in the digital age. Like I said before, most people are no longer tied to paper. Okay, so admittedly, I still carry a paper calendar, but I also have my cell phone and my iPad that I'm all digital all the time. Because even as my team is developing different things, I want to make sure that I can see it on my electronic devices. So make sure that you pay attention and you put good quality content on your web pages, pay attention to your web design and things like that. You want it to be user friendly. You want to be every place digital is, and that is on the web, social media. You take your advertising there, and you can start off with a small budget, even if you are doing it in house by yourself, an hour a day, twice a day, however you're able to do it. It's important that you start marketing digitally at the same time. I'm not saying to completely shy away from any of your paper products, because you do have a sector of the community that still likes the newspaper, magazines, and things of that nature. They like tangible things, but for the most part, research is showing that most people are going to digital, social media on their cell phones. We even do news now that I have to do a small snippet in the mornings just for my digital web folks who don't turn the TV on at all. So make sure that you're paying attention to your digital development and management. Your podcast, you should be talking about your business on a podcast or Facebook or Instagram, Twitter, or something like that, at least 3 touches a day. Okay. So
This is a
digital.
really a different. This is a big different environment, right? It's been, it seems over the last decade that we went primarily from news, TV, radio, and print, and now my kids can order a car on their telephone. It's amazing the difference that's happened. And it's kind of hard to keep up. It's a little daunting.
Oh, absolutely. Everything's virtual now. And I'm telling you, COVID actually proved that. But everything is virtual now. You do not have to leave your house if you don't have to. If you don't want to, you don't have to leave. You can do everything digitally. So you probably should think about digital marketing first. If you had to choose between the two, think about digital marketing first. Because some of that stuff you can actually do on your own. Um, Proposal support. Now, proposals would help you find different means of revenue or different means to get grants and funding opportunities, capital, and things like that. And you can find that sometimes too at your universities. Some of your universities are usually connected to the SBAs, and they do research for you, and they will also show you how to get some funding opportunities. And also, because you are an XBE and you probably should identify as such, you may be able to get support from bigger companies that would love to partner with XBEs. They get grant opportunities. So that would be another source for you. So you would certainly just do some of the research, get some proposals written to make yourself available, make your company available, learn
Sure.
and develop.
Charmaine, we have noticed as part of the diversity consortium that corporations are trying to encourage diverse companies to kind of band together in strategic alliances to be able to cover more scope of content, to be
Mhm.
able to compete with larger organizations, particularly in this proposal or the RFI, RFP world. So it's a real interesting change
Mhm.
that people are starting to work together to make their story a little more compelling.
Well, I would even be a big advocate for it. I think this consortium is like a great thing because what I can't do, the consortium can do as a whole. So, like I said, you get you a little piece, and somebody else, another company you partner with, get a little piece. You can actually move mountains. You can do great work together. You don't have to do it all by yourself. So, this is a great opportunity to kind of link together and do what you can do as a team. Now, everybody can move forward. You don't have to be an expert in everything. If you're an expert in your part, and I team up with another person that's an expert in their business, we can actually do some great work together and take down some, get some big opportunities as well. Okay, so your marketing communications, that's your collateral pieces. That's the PR work that goes behind marketing. Not everybody knows somebody that can help them do this, but a good marketing output when it comes to marketing your businesses is putting some advertisements together, making sure that you are in some places where people are, and also making sure that your business is seen, and that is through making relationships and connections with the people who actually do this advertising work. That would be your newspapers, that would be your social media folks, and things like that, that you can have an online presence, you can have some activity moving. And that may be too, just sitting down and writing out some letters, writing some press releases and things like that. But that marketing communication part comes once you have a strategy. You can say maybe twice a month that you'll put out some news releases and get some printed collateral together. And that stuff would actually help you. It's working for you when you're not actually doing anything, because they live forever and wherever you put it.
I've noticed, Charmaine, that a lot of opinions, you don't have a second opportunity to make a first impression, but the way that material looks, the professionalism, the readability is super important, in trying to create the right image.
Absolutely. And in that case, I'm glad you brought that up. Be careful who you let. It may be inexpensive, but sometimes it's worth paying the extra money to make something look really good. And I don't know, most of us have seen where somebody, that they may not be capable of doing the thing that they say they were capable of, but they certainly can sell it because the product looks good. How many of us have ever been spammed or scammed by organizations or these sellers that say, oh, order these pair of pants from China or whatever, and then you get the pair of pants or something and the legs are short, but they looked good in copy. Make sure that your copy looks as good as what you are presenting as far as your business is concerned.
That's absolutely.
And this talks more about collateral development, and that's one of the things to make sure your things are really looking good. To manage that, make sure you're planning, and that's where your marketer and your team align with tasks. Your team knows exactly what you're trying to put out. You know exactly what you're trying to put out. Don't just go the course. Actually have a plan. Think about it. How much can you get done with with the time you want to get it done, and you don't have to do everything so quickly. Make sure that everybody's on board, though. Everybody has one idea. The workflow, make sure that you're also managing that so you can streamline everything and there's a process to everything. And truthfully, if you stop something as soon as you realize an error and you just kind of punt, sit back for a minute and then go at it again, usually it works. You may make a mistake or twice, once or twice, but you can get it right if you keep going. Just make sure that you can keep your workflow going. Collaborations, what Jim and I had just talked about. Collaborations, you can do a lot of work. Be intentional, though, with the people that you partner with to make sure that you know your role, that person knows their role, so you can all move forward together. Visibility, where everybody can see where the task is, the workload, and things like that, what they know the big picture is. And that could be just like this. We're coming together on teams to kind of talk about what we want to see in this particular project. I never take on a project unless I know my team is ready for it. Some projects you may say, oh, we can't do this unless the team can handle it. And make sure everybody knows what the big picture is and what their role is in the projects. But those things are important when it comes to collateral development and the management of your business.
So I agree with you, Charmaine. They starting an activity and having a clear plan and a charter and an expectation is real keys to success. Often, if you don't do that, you kind of wander around in the dark and you hope you get there, and it's often difficult to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it is now time, Charmaine, to kind of open it up. We had some questions that have come in. So we certainly want to take those if it's okay. So for all of you that are in the audience, remember that you can go into the chat. You can ask any question. We're going to try to get to as many as we can today, and we will follow up and answer all questions and distribute it to everybody who is interested. So make sure that you put that in your chat as well. But guys in the back, do we have any questions that have come up?
Yeah, we've had a few. First question is, our marketing budget is tight. What should we prioritize?
Digital. With a marketing budget that's tight, try to get you some nice, robust collateral pieces, just a few of them, and then you start focusing on digital.
You know, Charmaine, and that's a great question. I remember in the early days, this was particularly when LinkedIn was just coming out, and we largely worked out of LinkedIn on a very select group of folks, and we did most of our communication there, but we found it to be a very, very high hit rate. Now, we didn't have very many because we were targeting so specifically, but that kind of digital environment and that kind of networking and that kind of high quality prospecting and lead generation was super helpful.
Absolutely. And then I'll tell you this, once you get a nice, good, you get your nice logo and you get it on digital, you can share that thing every morning you wake up. You're spending an hour on administrative work. You wake up every morning and you just share that, keep sharing it, tell people about it, ask somebody if you can share it, they can share it, tag people in it. That is the best way to get it going yourself. If you didn't have somebody that you could pay, get an intern. You can get somebody that's in college, an intern that's doing social media. They would love to be able to put your company's name on their resume as they're starting. You can go to your local college and say, hey, can I get an intern that's good with graphic design, or somebody's training in such, graphic design, but you should focus on digital if you have a really tight budget.
That's great. So any other questions that are out there?
Yeah, second question is, should I hire or partner with a company for marketing support?
If you can. If you're not a marketer and you have the budget to hire somebody, even part-time, because you can find somebody who may do it for you a la carte, and then you come up with a marketing strategy and say, here, this is my budget. I have $15,000 a year, $5,000 a year. What can I get for this? And then you guys come up with a marketing strategy. But if you can hire somebody, that would be ideal. So then you can focus on your business. It's hard to work in the business and focus on the business. So if you can hire somebody, that would be ideal.
Charmaine, I know in our business that we let the strategy, the business plan, the marketing plan, the sales plan kind of lead. How do we resource it? And there are times that we need a lot more effort than we do at other times. So we tend to outsource that and find an organization to support it. But the things that are baseline that stay the same, we try to keep those people inside. So maybe a hybrid is the right way to approach that.
Absolutely. Let's say, for instance, you are starting a business. You get your marketer for the first 3 months and then say, hey, I need you for 3 months. Can I do, I have $5,000. That's what, $1,500 a month. Can you get me started and then visit me again 5 months down the road? Can I pay for one more month of you just kind of making sure that I'm on the right road, or just picking me back up again? But that would be a great thing, Jim, just to kind of pay as you go. What you need in the beginning, you may not need in the middle. It may coast for a little bit. You can coast for about 6 months and then get that person to, come back again and give you a refresher, or help you remarket or remove some things and add some new things. You can freshen up your website. You don't have to do that every day. So you can actually keep a marketer on and not necessarily keep them as an employee year round.
Yeah, that's a great point. Okay.
You got one
Any
last
others?
question? Yeah. What is a good starting budget for marketing?
It just depends on what you're trying to do. You see what you have flexibility to do, because it just depends on how much you have to start with. If you have, $1,500, then you can only do $1,500 worth. But if you got $5,000 to $15,000, you can do some really good marketing with that for a year.
I would think that there's some pretty good benchmarking information, Charmaine, that would say that 2% of your revenue ought to be pointed towards your sales and marketing effort. I don't know what that number is, but I know in our organization that we budget, if we budget an increase in sales, we increase our marketing budget to support it, right? Things just don't happen because you want them to. So I think it has a lot to do with what you're expecting to happen. If you've got a supply base that's pretty stable and you're not trying to grow your business significantly, you can spend a whole lot less. But
Mhm.
my guess is that if you're going to go grow your business or add new customers,
You should have a
you
marketing budget.
that's right. It ought to correspond to what you're trying to do in the business for sure.
That should be part of your business plan, some sort of marketing budget. I am very leery of saying that you can get by with nothing, because even to design a nice logo and to get somebody to do anything for you, um, it's going to cost a little bit. Even if you were doing it yourself, it's going to cost a little bit. So you should have a marketing budget, period. Like, you should have something to start, even if it's a small budget, you should have something.
Yeah, that's great. So Charmaine, I want to thank you today. I just going to kind of maybe end up, if we can, tell us the best practices for XBEs and what they should be doing to be successful.
Optimizing your workflow. And that to me is just making sure you know where you're going in a day, in a month, in a week, in a year, how you optimize your workflow. And that to me is digital as well. Making sure that you are on the web, you are social media and things like that. You're digital. Also ensure some collaborative planning. Work with other people. We cannot survive alone. Like I say, I partner with different people, and we break it up how we need to break it up. It's to the point where people now come and say, hey, can you help us with this part? And I'm like, sure, you are an expert in the business part that you have. So you have to seek out some others that may not have your expertise or the expertise that you don't have. So it's good to have some collaborative planning. Also, be data driven. Know who your competition is, know your numbers, know what you're wanting to do, what you're trying to bring in. And it's okay to start small. You don't have to eat the whole elephant. You can eat just a little piece at a time.
Yeah, sure. I mean, those are great points, and I know from my history that having the workflow and the process-driven organization, you know where to go back to try to get better or fix something that didn't work the way we wanted to.
Hmm.
Our motivation to be part of the diversity consortium was all about collaboration and being around people that are around our customers, so
Hmm.
that we kind of have a broader sense of value to those folks and become more sticky. So those are great things. And in the collaborative work environment, data is everything for us. All we're trying to do is make sure that we have visibility to all that data and that
Hmm.
we can create insights from it. So I am 1,000% on board with you. Well, I want to thank you for your time. I want to stress to you and to the audience that corporations are working very hard to try to engage XBEs and to grow their supplier diversity. This is an activity that's been around for decades, but what we've seen over the last couple of years, the social unrest, the COVID, the failure of many small businesses as a result of the change in supply chain, corporations are more focused today than they've ever been on how do we grow our diverse suppliers, how do we grow our diverse staff, and probably something that we've never seen it with such vigor is how do I grow my diverse management teams and board activity. It really is the right thing to do at the right time. So I would encourage all of the XBEs that are on this call or that might listen later to be prepared and go position yourself for the business opportunities that are going to come your way. Um, as we kind of close out, and Charmaine, I want to thank you for your time and your insights.
Thank you.
I thank the audience for all of the questions and engagement that we've had. I do want to kind of let you know this XBE Thrive series is all about just kind of sharing information and how do we work together to get to our goals and objectives. These Thrive events tend to happen on a monthly basis. The next one is next week, Thursday, the 26th at 1 o'clock. Go on to the thediversityconsortium.com, register for the event. It's free. We'd love to have you there. We have different topics that we cover every month, so you'll see the agendas there. And inside those Thrive events are things like we talked about today, something a little more specific, technology and marketing like we're on today. So those happen every month as well. The content kind of varies month to month, but we would love to have you. So go on to the website and look at the schedule, see what fits in your calendar, and join us for those. But always feel free to reach out to the organization and ask any questions, right? The diversityconsortium.com. The phone number is up there for you. Rob Travia is the chairman of that organization. Reach out to him personally. That is his mobile number. So feel free to reach out. I want to thank everybody for their time. We look forward to getting to know you better. If there's ever anything we can do, don't hesitate to reach out. But reach out to somebody. Let's go grow our businesses together. Thank you all for your time and have a great day.
Have a great day.